All right. How old were you when you evacuated?
Well, I just turned 17 years old at that time.
Really?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? I mean, 50 years ago. I mean, you clearly you remember it pretty well. You have quite a story to tell. But what just kind of looking back, it was such a turning point in the history of Vietnam and this country. What are your thoughts?
Well, the thought is you go with your normal daily life. You not really think about it until the day pop it up and hit you. And all the thing happened 50 years ago is all of a sudden, just like a slow movie, come back to you. And you begin reliving it. You had 20 minutes to get out of your house, and you didn't know where you're supposed to go. You see the dead body laying on the street, in the gutter, and you see the soldiers. It's the fear and the faith you never forget. They went into the house of the people lay clothes on the street and begging for civilian clothes so they can change it, so they can blend in and they can escape and somehow get back to their home, because a lot of them not live right in Saigon city at that point, and they had to travel probably 100, 150 miles to their home and try to hiding themselves. And people run all over the place, and also the B-40 rocket began shooting into the city at that point. So when you heard a big loud noise, you better go and find a place to cover. Then you're waiting to hear the air being steering apart by the rocket flying, and you heard the big loud drop, and you pray and see and hope the rocket not exploded. And that's the thing I remember 50 years ago today. And this time of the day, 11 o'clock, my father is just desperate to have the family get out safely, and the family of 11 children and his mother and his wife is not easy. And the telephone line been cut. You no longer be able to communicate with the people you think they can help you out, including Americans at that time, because my family is supposed to leave the country by airplane. But we can't get into the airports. We can't get into the U.S. Embassy. And so my father had to find all the way available to him at that time to get the family out. And at 10 minutes after 2, we got the news we can get out of Vietnam, but not by plane, not by helicopter, but by boat. And my house is about 20 minutes away from the harbor. And we no longer had the plan carry the luggage, our belongings, our memento, and the other thing. The new plan is 3 layers of clothes in your body, change your sandal to the tennis shoe, carry the water in the jug we have, and have dehydration rice and condensed milks and dry fruit so we can last for a while. And that's the plan I get out at United States, get out of Vietnam. And I came to this country with no luggage, nothing. Whatever I had, the clothes I carry with me, plus some clothes I collect when I was in the refugee camp for Shafi, Arkansas. And that's what I have. Excuse me. When you lose everything, you lose your house, you lose your futures, because that time I was a student in university, and seeing my mom and dad lost everything. And we head out for the unknown. And without my father's courage, I never be able to be here today. The document he had, because he been educated by United States, and that's the ticket to get me through the Saigon harbor, because the gate is completely shut, and U.S. Marine already take control of the harbor. And with that document, that allowed my family to get through the narrow gate open and be able to get through it and get into the boats.
Once you were on the boat, though, that was a whole other ordeal, right? 11 days and you ran out of food and water. Tell me about that.
Okay, so we got in the boat about 2:45, 3 o'clock at that time. And they said the boat will leave the harbors about 4:30. So get into the boat, and I thought, okay, it's, just a piece of cake. You're young, you're so naive, you never, take a trip on the water like that. So at the first 20 minutes, we all happy. We was in the boat, and more people come in, and more people coming in, more people coming in. We end up scully in the tight position to save room for the next people coming in. And at that time, I realized it's not an easy trip at all. And so the boat finally be able to get up the harbor is about 5:30, not 4:30 like we thought we'd be able to get out. And so the water is quite calm on that day. But we know the Saigon River had a narrow sections, and people who control the boats already know the communist position themselves along that narrow. So they order all women and children go down, and the men stand up in the front. And I didn't want to go down. I want to stay with my father. And they increased the speed to the full speed. And at that time, we heard the rockets shooting in. Because our boats are not that big, so we be able to maneuver and not get hit. But the big boat behind us, they got hit. And we see the hull of the boats had a big hole on that. And so when we go out to international water, they're not far behind us at all, so we can see the whole thing. And we saw them begin lowering the body down into the water. And we're supposed to go to the carriers, and hopefully the carrier will pick us up. But when we go out to the carriers, we're considering my boats, we are the lucky one. My boats are a lot bigger than the other. Some of them had the boats like 8 feet. I don't know how they be able to get that far, but they got rescued into the carrier. And we got the order we should go to Taiwan. And so we head to Taiwan. A couple of days later on, we arrived in Taiwan. And Taiwan not welcome refugee. And I understand because they are an island. They don't have room for refugee at that time. But they're not really welcoming. We got shot at harbor at Taiwan. And they pull us out. They pull us out. And they said, okay, now either we go to Malaysia or we go to the Philippines. But by the time beyond Taiwan, we didn't know what direction we're supposed to go. And so we just go. And 6 days on the trip, the field run very, very low. The water is no existing because we have to drink the water to cool the engines. And so the diesel engines, and so you drink that water, I can still smell that until today. And the food is running out. The dehydration rise and condensed milks and the other thing is not there anymore. We're really, really desperate at that time. People begin talking about, should we return back to Vietnam? But people said, we don't get fuel, how can we come back? And so we just circle around because, you don't have the fuel to control your boats anymore. And the storm came, it pounding on us for the day and half. And we be able to collect the water, and that's help us to survive. You had no food, you can survive 7 days later. You had no water, and with the hot sun in the Pacific Ocean, we probably last about 40, 48 hours the most. But that water is helping us to survive. Then we heard the sound of the helicopter get closer and closer and closer. And they circle around the boats. And everybody happy, but they circle and they took off. And now we worry, oh my God, where we go? Then about 2 hours later on, we heard the helicopter sound back again. And this time they had the flexible ladder, and 3 American gentlemen in full uniform come down and assessing the situation in the boat. And they know the engine is still good. So they told us, stay put right there. And an hour and a half later on, the Navy boat coupled up with our boat. And so they pump fuel, they pump water for us, and they gave us food in the can, and like cracker and the other thing. And that's a great thing, but give us the canned food with no can opener. So, very, very simple detail and that we're missing on that fact. And so we just use all the sharp object, we have it in hand and open the can and get food. So we survived, and 2 days later on, we got to the Subic Bay. They charged the courts, and we managed to get into the Subic Bay about 3:30 in the afternoon. I remember real well. All of a sudden you feel so much better. You feel, you're no longer sick. You're no longer sad. You think you see hope there. At least people, get to you and rescue you. And by the time the boat come in with the Navy boat, we had to climb over that Navy boat to get out and landed on the ground. And the first thing I received when I arrived in Subic Bay is the bologna sandwiches and the Dr. Pepper. So I was so hungry. I think probably 3 bites. I swallowed the whole bologna sandwiches. I still hate that sandwiches today. And the Dr. Pepper, I never had Dr. Pepper in my life. I opened the can of Dr. Pepper, cold, and you're thirsty. Oh my God, it tastes horrible. And I never touched Dr. Pepper in the last 50 years. And from there, very, very quickly, because the document my father had, they color-coded the refugee arrived in Subic Bay. So you had the blue band, you had yellow band, and you had the red band. Because my father had the ID plus all the documents from the United States. We got the blue band. And within 30 minutes, the Air Force bus, they kind of coffee cream color bus, and they just load us up. We didn't know where we go, but we just followed the order because my father, who was the career officer, said, you need to follow the order and you will survive. And he truly correct on that part. So we just load up in the bus and they roll us to the airports. And all the airplane is military airplane. You don't see any civilian airplane in that airport at the Subic Bay at all. So we got into the plane, and all of a sudden we look inside. I look inside of the plane. I said, oh my God. I don't remember I ever fly the plane like that, because they had a rope from the front to the back of the airplane, and you just hold tight on that for takeoff and landing. And no bathroom at all. And so in the dark, here we go, and nobody telling us your destination will be a warm island. But we said no, because we see American personnel around. They're very nice, they're very attentive to the refugee. They sympathize for us with the hardship we had to go through. And we flew and flew and flew. And all of a sudden, the plane slowed down and landed. at the airports in Guam. And here the bus come and pick us up again and load it up. Then bring us to the tent city. You will see tents as far as you can see. And the airplane continued landing. After me, several planes coming in, and they opened the back of the plane. People just walk out, hundreds of people at a time. So we got to the tent city, and we had to go through it probably 11 or 12 o'clock at night. And they said we had to get vaccinated. I didn't know what vaccine I received on that night. And we had no privacy or anything. They just tell you, take off your shirt, and you walk between the two long tables, and they shot on both arms. And when you're done with that, they gave you the pillow and the blanket. You put your hand out, and they put it on your hand, and they assign you the number of the tent. But also they said, we make soup for your guy, eat at night, so follow the light and go to the tent over there, you will have soup serving for you. But we were so tired, 11 days on the boats, 3 hours in Subic Bay, 4 hours and a half flying, and with all the things we go through there, I just decided to go to the tent, and I dropped down on the cot. And I don't know how many hours I sleep until my father came and woke us up. And when I opened the tent and looked out, I'm not alone. Thousands and thousands of people like the situation like my family, and family been separate from each other. The children got left behind, the husband got left behind, all the wife got left behind. And I look around, so my mom and dad there, all my siblings there, and my grandmother still with us. And I said, I am a lucky one. And from there, my trip began. I stayed in Guam for 7 days. And we didn't know where is the next destination. We got loaded up into the bus and bring to the airport. We didn't have much belonging to carry so easy, So we got there, got to the airports, civilian airports. And I flew with TWA, that the airline no longer exists. It's our business. And when the plane take off, that's the time they said, this plane will go to Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. And my father got training in Oklahoma. And he said, I know where that state located. But he said, that's okay. We now get closer in the reality to live a normal life. And so we got into Fort Chaffee, Arkansas in May 12. And we stayed there May, June, July, August. And the end of August, and that we got sponsored by First Lutheran Church in northern Minnesota, the town called Brainerd, Minnesota. I never know that town exists or anything. And so after we took the picture and the church revealed the background of my family, and they agreed that the family they want sponsor, so we'd be able to get out of the camp. So we took the airplane from Arkansas to Minneapolis, and from Minneapolis we take the commuter plane to Brainerd, Minnesota. And the weather is already cold back then. I grew up with every temperature 83 degrees every day. I got there, the temperature is already 40, 50 in the evenings, and I had no shoe. At that time, the tennis shoes is broken, and they gave some sandal for us in the camp, so that's all I had. I had no winter clothes or even warm coat at all. And I remember the church member came out with blankets. So they cover us, and they take us into the car, and they roll us to the church, Lutheran church. And they had a big potluck for us. And a lot of food I never eat before. I never eat macaroni and cheese. I never eat potato salads. I never eat, cheese and finger food and everything, because we pretty much eat a lot of vegetable and fruits and, rice and small portion of meat. And here we eat all the food I never know. But I said, hey, this is just the beginning. And I'm just grateful for the welcoming, for the caring the people from the church have it for my family. And they brought us to the house. And supposedly, they divide my family to two. And they rent two houses. But when my father came and looked at the house at 1702 Oak Street in Brainerd, Minnesota, he said, hey, we can manage. All of us can live in 3 bedrooms, and we can sleep on the floor. And I told my dad, hey, 11 days on the boats and, 7 days in the camps and 3 months in Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, military camp. I think I can manage. I can throw the blanket in the corner of the house, and that's my room. And so we live there. And later on, I found out that house is abandoned house. And the church somehow rented, and they mobilized church members to fix up the house and paint it and everything else for my family to live on there. And the church coming back the next day, take us to the grocery, show us, what we're supposed to do. The safety also been run to my father and the older children, so they know, and do not open the door if you don't know the person, and things like that. And they come back the next day, begin to enroll children in school, elementary, middle, and high school. And because I owe enough, and we determined we're not using any support system from the government, because my dad made clear. So all the kids, 17 years old and up, the church get us jobs, and we go to work, and my father go to work. So 2 weeks before we arrive, 4 of us get jobs. And we pay our own rent, we pay our own food. And a year later on, with all the money we pull it together, we be able to buy a brand new LTD 4 car. Brand new, shipped from Minneapolis. Also, the church gave us the station wagon, so we had 2 vehicles. And we fully independent. And at that time, so we take turns, and my brother will go to University of Minnesota, 2 of my brothers. One go into mechanical engineering, and the other one go to chemical engineering. And the other sister of mine, the one a little bit older than me, went to school to get the LPA degree. And so when she done with that, my turn go to college. And so I wrote my personal story. And unknown to me, I had, the mentor help me to put my application, my personal story. And so I applied with University of Minnesota. I got full ride scholarship to go to University of Minnesota. And
How did you finally end up in Washington?
So that's the story. My brother, after he finished college, mechanical engineering and master degree after that, and he got job offer at Boeing. And so he moved out Boeing, and my parents' tradition is move with the older son. And so my parents and the kid who not married will follow out. And so that's what I moved from Minneapolis to Washington in 1985.
How did you get involved with this organization?
So, during the time, I did not get a job, so I just volunteer. I had the weird thing about myself is, you know, I had the urge to help the other. Either I got paid or I don't get paid. So back then you don't have the internet to search or anything at all. I just call. And I found out every community college had a program helping the refugee. So I called and I said, can I come and help out? And I said, I never find job for anybody at all in my life except myself and, you know, my sibling. But I want to volunteer. And I had a car. I told them I had a car. I had a Honda Accord at that time. So they showed me where every community college located. We don't have the GPS and nothing. So I just asked them, you know, how to get there. So they showed me the way. And I ended up to help out. And when they had a job developer position open, people encouraged me to apply for the job. And I told them, I said, hey, you know, I trained at a biochemist and I work at a biochemist. I just want to do volunteer because I'm looking for work and return back to my field. And they said, no, you should apply for job developer. So I applied and I said, well, nobody hiring me on this job anyway. And my brother made the remark, well, you know, whoever gives you the job, they're probably crazy. And they need to be accurate and see, you know, why they encourage you to go to social services. And so I applied, and they called me the next day and said, you know, we offer you a job.
How long ago was that?
Pardon me?
How long ago was that?
That is, my God, I think 38 years ago. At the job, 38 years ago, I began with the job developers. And I didn't know the company in this area. I didn't know the road really well at all because I was here for 2 weeks, that's all. And when I got the job, and I began worry. So I went to the library, Everett Library, and the librarians told me, here are the books of the company. And so I focused on the company, 100 employees or less. And so I just target them. I do the cold call, and I use the Thomas guide to get out the company. I developed so much job at the point I didn't have enough people to fill for all the positions I developed. I had to give my job away to the other organization provide similar services like this agency provides services for. Then 1991, the position of executive directors opened, and I decided to compete for it. I compete with the other 30 candidates. And the agency that time just had 2 programs only. And right now we have 26 programs. And we cover Gadget, Whatcom, San Juan Island, and Snohomish County. We open the door for all refugee, immigrant, asylum seeker, temporary protective status. We don't say no to anyone at all. Everybody come here, they will get the services. We treat people with dignity and respect. And at the refugee myself, I had to jump in through all the hoops, and I transferred that skill to helping the others. I make sure they will success just like I do. Because, you know, we came here and we end up to woven in the fabrics of the community. We contribute more than we take them. And so, you know, just looking around the Vietnamese refugees for 50 years, you see them running the business, running for office, graduate from college, advanced degree, buying home, paying tax, and so on and so forth. And our country is a country built by immigrants. And I always thinking, okay, you the one come first, you will lend a hand for the one come after you. And the one after you lend a hand for the next one. And that's what I always think our country, and still quite true up until today, even though we have to go through some tough time right now, but it's still true. People still lend a hand for the next newcomer.
What, that's an amazing story. Would you change anything? I mean, you've landed in a pretty good spot where you're able to help other people. Is there anything that you wish was different? Do you wish, I mean, the war never happened? Do you wish you never left Vietnam? Or are you grateful that you're here?
You know, I wish the war never happened, because 65,000 Americans giving up their life for the country they never know. The people, they never understand. The culture is so complicated to them. We are talking about American side right there. The 65,000 soldiers never coming home. But we don't count the people coming home injured, emotional, physical scar they still carry 50 years later. On top of it, how many Vietnamese die in the Pacific Ocean? And how many Vietnamese sent to the re-education camp by the communist regime? And they die in the camp. And the ones survive and come back, and eventually we welcome them to this country, and they're broken. So, you know, looking back, I think, you know, if the war never happened, I don't have opportunity to be here. Number one, my life probably different. You know, I will become a teacher, teach physics and chemistry, and, you know, try to torture my student on that sense. And yes, I still continue traditions the way I've been brought up. But, you know, you can't change it. You just can't change it. So 50 years later, I'm here. And I will make the best out whatever I have, either by my knowledge, my partnership with the other organizations, or my advocacy, to make sure the people come after me have the same opportunity like I have to be a successful, to be a productive citizen in this country. And you know, I want to take this opportunity to let American people know I am thankful for you. I'm truly from the bottom of my heart. You don't know me. You know, I am just a stranger to you. You open your arms, you open your heart, you open your house, and help me and help my family. And all my siblings graduate from the University of the United States of America. We're doing well, we're healthy, we're grateful, and I think regardless whatever going on in our country right now, the United States of America is still the best place to live.
You see this every day, but how it's a very different world than it was 50 years ago in terms of immigrants and refugees in this country. They're not being welcomed like you were welcomed. Terrible things are happening to them. What are your concerns about this latest generation of people trying to come here and live the dream that you've been able to live?
Well, you know, my time is very, very different. I've been welcomed in this country. People are outpouring support. I met the stranger on the street and said, I'm glad you're here. And you say, it's so much different right now. People tell you, go back to your country. And people telling you, you don't belong here. People telling you, I will call the immigration force on you because you're here illegal. And they just ready to put the people down. And whatever the people come here right now or try to come here in the next few years, they carry the scar with them for the rest of their life. I don't have that scar because I came in with open arms, welcome me. You know, when I don't even raise my hand up, people come and ask me, do you need something? What can I do for you? And right now, the people come here right now, they're just afraid. They can't tell you, I'm new here, I need help, I'm scared, anything. They keep it for themselves. And that will affect them in the future and also affect the next generation, their children and grandchildren. Just look at the Japanese got put in the intern camp. It's affects several generations. I'm lucky I didn't have to go through that trauma at all. And I raised my children, even though I tell them I had to leave the country, I had to run for my life, I almost died on the sea. But listen, I got welcome to this country. People support me. I be able to get my education. I be able to, explore all the opportunity available for me, and I be able to provide you a better life than I have when I first came to this country. But, even though I go through the hardship in the first 12 years when I come here, it's nothing. Nothing. Every single day I get up, I remind myself, you have to remember, Van, you are the lucky one.
Dan, I could listen to you talk all day. Thank you so much for sharing all that with us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I think, 2 million people, 2 million Vietnamese today, they all reflect.
Mhm.
They all reflect.